Hello and welcome to Oscar Mike Radio. Oscar Mike Radio is about military and veterans, stories, issues, history, and happenings. And speaking of happenings, I am pleased to have another artist, civilian artist guest on Oscar Mike Radio, kind of going outside my lane a little bit, but not really, because there's a message of resilience and, personal growth. Ashlie Amber, welcome.
Hi, hello. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to be chatting with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, before we get into the conversation, I kind of want to, who is Ashlie? What makes you so special besides your amazing hair?
Well, dang, if you take out the hair, I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm a songwriter. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm also an author. I kind of do all the things. I guess you could say I'm a woman of many hats, except hats don't really fit. But you get the.
I get it. I get it. Well, one of the things that really got me curious about your story is this idea that you are pursuing country music primarily.
Yeah.
And talking with Anna from 4PR and your story. Of course, my phone goes off. But anyway, the idea was that you are an emerging artist, but not really like new to the game. You've been in this game a while, developing your craft and talent. So how does someone from Colorado in the mountains, there's a lot of Colorado that's flat. I know that because I've been there, but how did you develop into this pursuit of country music?
Yeah, it's been quite the journey. And I started listening to country music when I was a kid. Of course, growing up, my parents listened to like Earth, Wind and Fire and, the Isley Brothers and like the Spinners, like lots of soul music. So when I was in my household, that's all the music I knew. And then when I went to school, and you start making friends and you start listening to what your friends listen to. That's how I discovered country music. It was actually at a pep assembly and the football team was dancing to a Tim McGraw song. And the song came on, everybody knew all the lyrics, everybody's dancing, singing along. And I was like, what is happening right now? How did I miss something? And that's how the journey began. And so I've always been in love with country music and I've always been in love with music in general. I have a very eclectic taste in music. And over time, when you discover that you can sing and, you kind of start doing it for fun as a kid. And then the older you get, the more serious you get about it. During that time, I was really trying to discover who I was as an artist and my voice is different. I don't have that, I guess you can say that traditional, Black girl sound, which I hate that term anyway, because it's like, what is that sound supposed to be? Like we can all sound however we want because we're all individuals. But according to, the rest of the world, I don't have that typical sound. So I kept being pushed into a market that I didn't quite fit in, which was hip hop and R&B. And I was like, you guys, like, this isn't my voice. This isn't what I grew up listening to. This isn't my style. And so that's really how it developed. So when I was younger, nobody wanted to take me seriously as a country artist. So I just kind of had to find ways to sing and perform because at the end of the day, that's all I wanted to do was be a performer. And so I took the scenic route. I started doing musical theater. I started, doing party bands and having to cover every style of music from rock, pop, gospel, R&B, country, like everything. And all those years led me back to where I am right now, which is pursuing my original dream of country music. And I'm just so excited to be on this journey. And it's been a couple years that we've been on this journey, my team and I, and we're just so thankful and so excited that everybody has been so responsive and so supportive right now.
Well, that's amazing. And when I hear voices, I don't have the singing background you do, but I do have a little bit. It's simply, are you soprano, alto, or contralto? I got a mezzo soprano, maybe a little alto. You're not alto, definitely, but I would peg you as like a mezzo soprano.
You are exactly correct.
So I'm like, the voice is amazing and it's soothing. But before we go on to the rest of this, I have a question I ask all you artists.
Okay.
This is not a test, but it tells me who you are. Now, look, you're working hard. You've sacrificed. You have gone to the gigs. People are off the weekend. You're performing. You're working. You're writing your own music. All that, and you're trying to build your name. You're trying to get some measure of success. Put a lot of work into this. So here's the question. All these music catalogs have sold recently for hundreds of millions of dollars. Ashlie, if I told you I can give you a check for $200 million right now, I'll give it to you right now. And you can fast forward through all that work stuff and have the money right now. But you can never sing again in public. You can never perform or write music again. Would you take the money?
Oh, no, definitely not.
You wouldn't.
Yeah. No. It's not about the money. I mean, we're artists. Like we don't make any money, especially at the beginning. Everything we make, we're putting right back out. And don't get me wrong, of course, like I want to pay my bills and I want to be able to take care of my family and all of those things. But like, this is not just what I do. It's who I am, as an artist and as a musician and as a songwriter. It's in my blood. Like, this is what fuels me. This feeds my soul. So to have that taken away and to have that adrenaline and that endorphins and the ability to connect with your audience while singing. I mean, when you're on stage and you have people come up to you after the show that say, thank you so much. Like you touched me. Like that song changed my life. This song got me through a really difficult time. This song reminds me of my mother who passed away. And although I miss her greatly, I'm so thankful that every time I listen to the song, it reminds me of all the beautiful memories that we had together. Like, why would anybody want to give that up for $200 million? Like, money's just money.
Fair enough. I've gotten similar answers, but this is a part of you. So as you developed into an artist, what is it about country music that really bonds and resonates with you? Because for some of us, to me, it's just like four different things. My girlfriend left me, my truck broke down, my dog ran away, and the beer's not in the fridge. I mean, I've told friends of mine that's what country music is, and they're like, no. So what is country music to you, Ashlie?
Country music's so much more than that.
What?
But I guess every genre of music kind of has stereotypes. Hip hop has a stereotype, even pop music. I feel like every genre kind of has their own thing. But the thing that I love most about country is one of the few genres that still uses live musicians. Like all of my music, it's 100% like real musicians. It's not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's not made in some program. Like it's actual musicians getting in the room, collaborating and making an incredible piece of music. And it's also what got me hooked on country music was the stories. Like, and I know it sounds crazy because I'm a Black woman in country music, and Black women in country music have not been successful thus far, but that is changing. But this is really the only genre of music I felt like I could truly be myself. Like, I don't feel like I have to be a size 2 in order to be successful. I don't feel like I have to, pretend and have all this crazy, spectacles and all this stuff going on in order to be successful. I know that in country music, I can just be myself. I can just share my story, and that the listeners and the fans will respond and they want to listen. And that's what I love most about country music is that personal aspect of really getting to truly be yourself and to just be able to share great stories. That's what country music is. They're stories, they're relatable, and they're very literal, which is why so many people can relate to the songs. I don't know if there's a country song on that people can't relate to because it's so personal,
Okay. I got a sense of that through the last song you wrote about the person you were with when you were, back east. is a really personal, authentic connection. And how important is that authenticity for everything you do?
It's extremely important. It's the root of everything. I think because there is so much content out there and there's so many great, talented people, people can see right through, a facade or a gimmick. Like, at the end of the day, you have to stay true to who you are. And, I get people ask me all the time about my hair. Right now it's kind of, done up slightly different, but normally it's this giant fro hawk. And, they're like, "Oh, did you just like start doing that?" And I'm like, "No, I've been wearing my fro hawk for like a decade, actually. I think that's the first time that I started. It was a baby fro hawk, but like I started
I'm
wearing
so
it all the way
jealous.
back then."
I'm so jealous. You saw my hair before we started recording. I'm like, I don't know what to say.
Hey, not everybody can rock a bald head. I mean, you have to have a very beautifully shaped head in order to do that. So that's
Thank you.
kudos to you.
Thank you, Ashlie.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I'm asking all about this country music stuff is, well, there's no easy way to say it. Let me ask you this. Do you know who Jason Aldean is?
I do know who Jason Aldean is.
Do you know who Luke Bryan is?
I do know who Luke Bryan is.
Oh, wow. Would it
Yeah.
interest you to know that I don't know who either of those two guys are?
Really? Jason Aldean and Luke Bryan are massive. Luke Bryan's got "Country Girl, Shake It For Me."
I
Yeah.
am 100%
Yeah.
a metalhead, Ashlie. So,
Well, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I get it.
well, I'm in the Nashville area, and I'm talking to another record label professional, and she's like, "Well, yeah, we're going to have Jason Aldean's dad at this thing. You're going to come." I'm like, "Who's Jason Aldean?" They couldn't believe it, but it's actually the truth.
Yeah, that's amazing. But honestly, like if you were to name like really big, metal stars, I wouldn't know who they are. Just like there was somebody who named, I don't know, like a bunch of rappers. They were like, "Oh yeah, have you heard of like so and so and so and so?" And I was like, "Huh?" And I looked them up on Instagram, and these people have like millions of followers, not just like one or two. I'm talking like 30, 40 million followers. And I was like, how have I never heard of this person ever? So I think, it's all about, perspective, and, we have different perspectives when we're listening to different music, right?
Well, speaking of perspective, you really wrote your last song that just dropped. What is that like to take your perspective now and not just be an artist, but actually laying the foundation with the lyrics, putting the lyrics to music, and then performing in a way that really completes the circle?
It was scary.
Really?
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no, tell me.
So it was super exciting. I'm so thankful, and I'm so excited to be sharing 100% of my own voice. But it was really scary. I remember Anna, my PR, who we talked about before the interview. I remember telling her like, "Hey, girl, like I'm really nervous. So like, do you think we're gonna be able to get any like press or like?" I had no idea how people were going to respond, because this is my first self-penned release. And I remember she called me and she was like, "Hey, are you ready?" And I was like, "For what?" She's like, "I got some great news for you." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Forbes is going to do an exclusive on your first release. They're going to announce your release, and American Songwriters is doing a whole entire piece on you." And I was like, "What?" And it just kind of gave me that validation that I needed, because, I'm just finally sharing 100% of my voice. And so once I got past that part, that like initial, like feeling it out stage, it's just been amazing. The response has been incredible. Getting to, have my debut music video as well, with this song. There's just been so many big monumental moments of my career and for this year, all surrounding this song. And so I'm just so thankful and just over the moon. I mean, about the response that everybody has given me thus far.
It has to be exciting. It has to be exciting. And you mentioned clearly on your website, on your Instagram, other social media outlets that you're a Black country artist. And you talked earlier how there's not a lot of Black female country artists and they haven't been successful. Do you think it's time now? Do you think Nashville and the Grand Ole Opry and people who listen are ready for you? Because again, my struggle, not really a struggle because I don't know the genre, as you probably ascertained, is that the song was so good. I didn't really care that you were Black or not. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm just trying to say that the music, the song, the lyrics, and your voice were so good. I'm like, I really enjoyed this. And I don't even listen to country music. So how do you, there's people like that who are going to hear that, and you're trying to make a name for yourself as a Black artist. There's got to be a balancing act. I'm trying to understand how, if that's a part of your thought process as you're going through this.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. That's just one of the best compliments anybody can get, because at the end of the day, I can't hide what I look like, right? I can't hide who I am. Like, it's undeniable that I'm a Black woman. So like, hi, hey, hello. And as far as Nashville and like the Grand Ole Opry being ready, they kind of don't really have a choice, do they?
Oh!
Like, I mean, we're here and we're giving it. Like, we're not just, sitting on the sidelines being like, hey, like, listen to our music. No, like, we have PR teams, we have management teams, we have, incredible content that we're producing. We're doing music videos. We're, promoting ourselves. Like, we're getting ourselves booked on things. Like, we're making it to the point where they can't ignore us anymore. And they have no choice. And with all these recent conversations of, diversity and inclusion, country music, if you look at it as a whole, it's clear to say. So they have to really start making those steps forward in order to create actual change. It's one thing to say something, but you actually have to do something. And my whole thing is, again, I can't hide who I am, and I'm proud to be a Black woman. I am so proud to be a Black woman. And I mean, come on, we're in the White House. Hey, it's incredible. But eventually, this conversation.
No, your camera turned.
Oh, here we go. Sorry.
Yep.
Eventually, this conversation doesn't have to exist anymore. Eventually, it doesn't have to be about race. Eventually, it can be Ashlie Amber wins Best New Artist. But we're not there yet, because there's never been a Black woman to win Best New Artist. There's never been a Black woman to be in the top 40. There's never been a Black woman to have a number one hit. It hasn't happened yet. So once we have enough of us winning, and the world and the genre can see that regardless of the color of our skin, we're just successful artists that work hard and that really care about our craft and deserve to be here because we're talented, we're good people, we're hardworking, we've surrounded ourselves with incredible people. And then eventually that conversation doesn't have to happen anymore. It doesn't even have to exist. And that's what we're fighting for. That's what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for that conversation to one day be over. So my daughter, whenever I have a daughter, she'll be able to do whatever she wants. And the color of her skin is completely obsolete.
So trying to tie this in with military veterans, hook. A lot of veterans I know are artists like yourselves, and they get discouraged or things don't quite work out the way they want. And I think a lot of what you just talked about can apply to them. That never give up attitude that, hey, we're here, whether you like it or not. What would you say to a veteran if he or she came up to you and said, you know what, I've been grinding for 5 years from now. I'm thinking about just packing it in. Have you ever had that happen with just anybody? And how have you been able to keep it going this long?
Yeah. For anybody who's doing this, I would say just keep grinding. Everybody's journey is different, right? So some people get really lucky and they're able to come out with one song that goes viral, and they get signed off of that one song. It does happen. And then some people grind it out for 10, 15 years before they get their break. Again, every journey is different. And the space that is meant for you to step into might not be available at the time when you want it, And so the grind is real. And the way I stay motivated is I focus on small goals. I focus on, okay, this year we're releasing 4 singles. We're going to do music videos. We're going to do this. And I just focus on those small goals, knowing that it's for the bigger picture. Scent that I have, I'm giving it every sweat, every tear, every bit of self-doubt, every smile, just everything. I'm giving it everything I've got. So how can it not work?
Right.
It's not a matter of if, it's just when. And so that's what I live by. And I'm an overly optimistic person. So I just see nothing but positives. Of course, there are bad things that happen all the time. And this past year has definitely been a struggle, but instead of focusing on those things, I just only focus on the positives. I'll be like, yeah, that happened, but oh my gosh, this happened. So let's focus on this. And I think if you have that attitude and you try to stay as positive as possible, that energy, that law of attraction, it just keeps building and building and building and building and building to eventually you get that moment to shine. And also, I think there's different levels of success, right? And you as an individual have to decide what that is to you. Is it a Grammy? Or is it simply just being able to pay your bills? Like you bought your house and your car and you provide for your family simply just off music. You're making, $150,000 a year doing what you love. That's successful. Okay. Yeah, sure. It's not Jason Aldean or Luke Bryan, but like you're still doing what you love and being successful at it. So I also think there's levels, that you have to decide what it is that you really want and what you're really willing to sacrifice to get there. Because to be the next Carrie Underwood, it's going to take a lot of sacrifice.
Right.
But you don't have to be the next Carrie Underwood. You can just be whatever it is you choose to be. Just you, does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. I think it aligns to what I was trying to find out. And in my personal life, and when I talk to other veterans who, we're grinding in our own things, I think that resonates very well with me. And speaking of veterans, you've done some work for the U.S. military, right? If I understood it correctly. Yeah. Tell me about that.
I have for the last, I guess, almost decade, I have been the face of the admissions and dispositions office for the Army training program.
Really?
I played Staff Sergeant Jessica Garro, and I had to wear the authentic uniform. Actually, there was somebody there that made sure the patches were correct, that made sure like the shoes were correct, because everything has to be done a very specific way. And I had to talk the language and use the terminology, which was actually very difficult. It's
really
some of the terminology, because when you're in the admissions and dispositions, it's part of the medical department in the Army. And some of the language, I'm like, I would never, what is that word even? Like, is that's a word? People say this? Because
yes.
I'm an artist. Like, we don't use that kind of terminology. So it was really fun. It was really funny because my co-star, we would just laugh at each other because every now and then something would come up on the green screen and we'd both be like, what the hell is that? But it was a lot of fun. And we actually got to go up to Colorado Springs, the base up there. And we filmed on base, and we did some actual scenes and stuff as well as, on front of the green screen and for the whole training thing. So it was a lot of fun.
So how is it, doing work for the military versus, say, a studio work? Is there any difference, or is it just the terminology?
No, I would say it was the same. Obviously, you kind of have to, like, again, the rules and, learn how to salute and like stand. And, I couldn't wear makeup. Like I had to, my hair had to be pulled back. Like there was lots of things that are different than, when I've done other commercials. They're just like, yeah, have fun, like do your thing. And, whatever you want to wear and whatever you do your thing. So it's very different in that aspect, but it's all the same. Like, a lot of professionals and lots of cameras, lots of people doing stuff in the background, all that kind of thing. It's just, just a slightly different set of rules, right?
All right. All right. You have all this momentum going on, but I've heard the song. Now, what's the song again for people who don't know? I'll have the link in the show post, but I want to hear it from your lips. What's the name of your song you just put out?
Uh, the name of my song is called Those Nights, Y'all, and it is so amazing. I'm so proud of this song. It's my first self-penned release, so make sure to check it out. Those Nights by Ashlie Amber, Ashlie Amber, and definitely give it a shout. Share it to your Facebook, your Instagram, all those things, and I would appreciate the support.
Absolutely. And speaking of, so you've done the song for 2021. What else is going on for this year? Do you have, I mean, it sounds like, Forbes, everybody else is coming on board. Do you have anything else song wise or tour wise going on for 2021?
Yes, we have so much stuff going on, but I don't want to overwhelm everybody with everything. But the
All right.
next big thing that's happening is I have an acoustic version of Those Nights that's
Oh,
about to come
really?
out with an official music video as well. And I'm really proud of this version because, the song itself is just, I'm a bit biased, right? Because I wrote it. But the song itself is beautiful, and it's just got this such great melody that we actually stripped it down. Right now, there's a lot of production, and there's a lot of background vocals and lots of things going on in the original version. But in this acoustic version, it's just me. There's no background vocals, no anything. It's just a lead vocal, and it's piano, bass, and guitar, and it's a completely new arrangement, and it's a vocal piece. It really shows off my vocals, and there's some new and exciting things as far as the vocal melody that's happening. And I'm just really excited. And the music video is absolutely stunning. I had my production team came in and filmed us live. So all the footage is live footage that they
Oh,
had
wow.
to somehow edit together to like make it work. No clue how they did that. And yeah, they really got to see the process, and you really got to see us, you get to see us in the studio, just, jamming out and creating, this incredible piece of art.
Well, speaking of support, how can people connect with Ashlie Amber? Because you're on YouTube and Instagram. Where else are you?
Y'all, you can find me everywhere. Just look for the hair and you're there. I
Look
promise.
for the hair and you're there. I'll remember that.
And you're there. But I am Ashlie Amber, again, Ashlie Amber, and that's ashlieamber.com. That's Ashlie Amber on Twitter. That's Ashlie Amber on YouTube. And then it's also Ashlie Amber Official on Instagram, TikTok. Yes, your girl is on TikTok, so come hang out with me. And also, what is it? Facebook. So Ashlie Amber Official on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So please, please, please come hang out with me. Follow me. Send me a message. I respond to everything. And also check me out on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all the music, Tidal. And again, that's just Ashlie Amber, Ashlie Amber.
Well, I will have all the links in the Oscar Mike Radio show post. Ashlie, I want to thank you for coming on. I mean, sometimes I get very serious on here and there's heavy stuff, but this is a really refreshing conversation, but still impactful because you have to go after what you want. You can't ever quit, and you've got to embrace the grind.
Absolutely, you do. And that's what I live by. I'm not a spring chicken for, a new country artist coming in. And but if I would have given up, then, of course we wouldn't have this conversation here, and I wouldn't have all these amazing opportunities. So again, like I said earlier, your journey is your journey. So just keep fighting for that journey, and your time will come. If you're giving it everything you got and you're leading with love, there is no way it's not going to happen. There's just no way.
Well, somebody else I know says lead with love. And so, you're saying it. It's very, very cool to have talked with you. So, folks, there you go. If you don't know who Ashlie Amber is, you now know who she is and should follow everything. Ashlie, I want to thank you for coming on Oscar Mike Radio and look forward to your successful journey.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And you have an amazing day.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.